Hey everyone, and welcome to February's TBR Assemble. If you don't know what TBR Assemble is, I'll leave a link up above to the original video where I do the full explanation, but it is essentially my Avengers based TBR game, and I don't have any readathons or anything to do this month, so let's just get right into the roles and exactly what I'm going to be reading. So today we're going to be using a Sam Wilson as Captain America. We're starting on 30, which is where we were before, and let's go with role number 1, which is a 2. So we're going to go 1, 2, which is the Own Voices Mind Stone section. Let's see what it's going to give me. That is a terrible fan. Give me a second to properly fan that out. There we go. And I'm going to go over here to this one. Cersei, start a new series. My first prompt was Cersei, which is to start a new Own Voices series. So I'm going for Tochi Onyebuchi's, I apologise right now if I've mispronounced that, Captain America, Symbol of Truth. And this is about Sam being Captain America, and he starts discovering that there may be a little bit more to the Captain America mythology than was originally thought. It also ties into Wakanda. It also deals a lot with what it means to be Captain America, all of this kind of thing. I've heard people absolutely raving about it, and it's about time I read it, so that is what I'm going to be doing this month. Role number 2 is a 5, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the Space Stone, if I can get hold of them all. There we go. The Space Stone, which means sci-fi. I'm going to go this one, actually. That is Monica Rambeau from a recent haul. Next up is Monica Rambeau with a sci-fi from a recent book haul, and I could not go for anything but Heavenly Tyrant by Ziran J. Zhao. I recently reread Iron Widow and absolutely adored it, and I cannot wait to see how the series ends, so very, very excited to read this one. Role number 3 is a 3, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Fan fiction, brilliant. Role number 4 is a 3, so 1, 2, 3, which is fanfiction again, so we go over 1, and that is another Own Voices. Try and fan that out again. I'm going to go over this side because it went so well last time. Scarlet Scarab, a red cover. I'll have to have a think on that one. Next prompt was Scarlet Scarab, which is to read an Own Voices book with a red cover, and it turns out I do not have that many Own Voices book with red covers, so what I had to do instead was stretch that out to orange-red vibes and go for Court of Wanderers by Rin Chapeko. This is the sequel to, I've forgotten the name of the book, I will write it down here, but it was essentially a book about 2 vampires having to team up with a vampire hunter to try and save the world from this vampire plague that kind of turned the vampires into zombie-type creatures. I really enjoyed the first book. I've been desperate to read the sequel ever since, so very excited for this prompt to come up and for me to finally be able to read this. Role number 5 is a 2, so we're going to go 1, 2. That is another sci-fi. Apparently I really want to read sci-fi this month, or at least the board wants me to. I'm going to go in the middle here with this one, I think. T'Challa, diverse author. I can definitely do that. Next up is T'Challa, which is to read a sci-fi book with a diverse author, so I have gone for The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness, and I'm going to apologise right now quickly because every single time I mentioned this book in my announcement video for the Chaos Walking Read Along, which I'll leave a link to up above if you want to join us, I called this The Knife of Letting Go, not The Knife of Never Letting Go. Blame my dyslexia, I kept on missing out the word entirely, and to be honest, it wasn't until after when I was editing that video that I noticed the word never in the title, so apologies for that, and if that caused any kind of confusion. But anyway, this series is following Todd, who lives in a world which is entirely made up of men, and it is dominated by the noise, which is basically everybody's thoughts, and everybody can read everybody else's thoughts at all times. It doesn't matter if they're humans, animals, or anything else. You can everybody can hear everybody else's thoughts, until one day Todd stumbles across a patch of land which is completely silent, and there is a girl there. I love this first book so much when I read it last year, and I cannot wait to reread it. I will be vlogging the experience as well, so keep an eye out for that on my channel, as well as keep an eye out on our socials for the announcement for the first live show date, which will be coming up at the end of February. And I'm just generally really excited to be back in this world again, to be rereading this book and starting the Chaos Walking Read Along, so very excited for this. And then the final role is another 3. So we go 1, 2, 3, and that is retellings. Alright then, let's have a look. Let's fan this out, and I'm going to go this side again. I think I'm going to go for this one. Death, based on an iconic character or story. I'll have fun with this one. And then my final prompt is death, which is to read a book based on an iconic character or story. So I'm going for Hooked by A.C. Wise, because I loved Wendy Darling when I read it a couple of years ago. It was following the idea that Wendy is all grown up and had a family of her own, and one day she discovers Peter Pan trying to take her daughter to Neverland, and she sets out having to save her daughter because Peter is not a good guy. And this one is following Wendy again, but this time she is teaming up with Hook to stop Peter for good, and I am so excited to read this one. I love Peter Pan retellings where Peter is not actually a good guy, and I also love anything to do with Captain Hook, so really excited to read this one. And then as for anything else I'm going to be reading this month, I'll also be focusing on a few other Spider-Man comics. I'm not entirely sure which ones yet, but I will be reading some more Spider-Man. And then as for my audiobook for the month, I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be yet, but I will be figuring that out in February itself, because I do not actually have that much time to read this month, so I'm just kind of play it by ear with the audiobooks. Editing me quickly coming in here to say that after I finished filming this video, the graphics-a-thon was announced, which means it's going to be another challenge of 28 graphic novels in 28 days, and I'm definitely going to be taking part in this because I do it every single year. In terms of what I'm going to be reading, it's definitely going to be some Spider-Man, also the Captain America Symbol of Truth stuff I just mentioned, then maybe some James Tynion, maybe some Krakoa, things like this. I'm just going to kind of play it by ear and see what I feel like, but I will definitely be trying to read 28 graphic novels in 28 days in February. And then before I forget, there is also Shauna Maguire's latest Wayward Children book, which is coming out in the middle of February, so I'll definitely be dropping everything to read that when it arrives at my door. And this is my stack for February. Obviously I've got also Heavenly Tyrant, the next Wayward Children book, Court of Wanderers, everything else I've just mentioned, but it feels like a really nice sort of mix of things to read. I've got retellings, I've got dystopians, I've got sci-fis that feel very much like Pacific Rim, I've got superheroes, I've got vampires, so it feels like a really nice mix of things to read, and I cannot wait to get started. And that is where I'm going to be leaving this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you're reading in February, I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a knife emoji down below to let me know that you're here. I'll also leave the link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which is going to be filled with a whole load of things to do with Spider-Man and everything else if you want to check that out, as well as a link as well down below to my Etsy store that is selling bookish and nerdy merch and Notion templates if you want to check that out for yourself as well. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time everyone, bye!